Hello, everybody. It's Daniel Stabler here with Let's Get Nerdy. And um, today I'm going to talk about Banned Book Week. And really, it was born about a myth. I know conservatives have wanted certain books banned, but not in the same category as what liberals did. Liberals were the first to ban books. Liberals banned books that didn't even make sense. So banned books, the reason I say it's born from a myth, Banned Book Week, is because liberals are now crying that schools are listening to parents and wanting to take into advisement what parents are complaining about. And what they're complaining about are these homosexual, sexually explicit books labeled for children. They don't want those in children's library. They don't want their kids getting a hold of that. There's nothing wrong with that. Sexually explicit material should not be in existence anyway. But if they're going to be, it should be only for adults. So that's where I would say, from a Christian perspective, parents, if you are a Christian, do your best to keep everything sexual out of your life, outside of your natural marriage. Now, going back, it's a simple fact that parents are only wanting to care about their children. A more recent one, and one I guess that has been complained about for years, upon doing my own research, is To Kill a Mockingbird. And this book is not being banned by publishers. It's not being banned by libraries. It's not being banned by the government to take them out of the libraries. It's not being banned by bookstores. This book has only been banned in certain schools, certain school districts, because of its nature. And what I mean by that, if you really want a deep dive and well-articulated story for this, Matt Walsh did a really good job. Not a shock, he's really good. But the fact is, this book is based off a lie. Now, when I read this story, I don't know if it was based on truth, fact, or fiction. What I did know was it was fiction. It has always been presented as fiction. And therefore, I love it. It's a good fictional story. The problem is that it is born from a lie. Her dad did a criminal case where he was the defense attorney for 4 black gentlemen. And those 4 black gentlemen, according to the newspaper article, only one of them was potentially innocent because they couldn't find any sufficient evidence against him. But the other 3, they did. One man in particular had blood on his overalls. These 4 men were black. And that's how To Kill a Mockingbird eventually was born. But instead of telling it how it happened or what it was really about, she made up this complete narrative that just was in left field. It came out of left field. So, is it a problem that parents sought to have that book taken out of curriculum? It's still offered in libraries. I'm perfectly okay. In fact, it's quite interesting. I cannot recall if I read To Kill a Mockingbird in middle school or high school. I don't recall it, but I did read it while in college. And I think if there's a time and place to read it, not because it's difficult to understand, but because of its nature, that quite possibly college is the better place to have it in curriculum. Otherwise, I don't understand why a book like that would be in the curriculum. Anyways, they claim it's because of history, right? Well, then make it part of a history class, not English. But you make it part of English. And the reason being is because English literature, you're learning to read and write. Fine. But that can be a pastime. In high school, my favorite time was always reading time in English literature class. Why? Because I love to read. And so it was the best 10, 15 minutes in school I could have. That would have been the more appropriate time for To Kill a Mockingbird to be read. A student that just wants to go and read it. And that's all parents want. They just don't want it to be counted as curriculum and given to them. They also don't want sexually explicit books labeled for children in the school's libraries. Don't blame them. So when we talk about banned books, I am all for taking books out of curriculum that are misleading or they do have sexually explicit content. Now, some people said that Mockingbird has that. No, I disagree. Sexually explicit, yes, it talks about a rape, but that's it. And it doesn't go into details. It doesn't, so I disagree. When I say sexually explicit, I'm talking about not just saying it's sexual or sex happened. No, it's going into detail. It's showing or being very I don't know. But just deeply written. It goes into details that, quite frankly, we don't need to know. Like don't need to know it. In fact, I stopped reading James Patterson books because he has started to get more. How shall I say it? Snuff. The sexual stuff is getting really nasty and raunchy. It's becoming to a point where it's about every other chapter. You might as well label it snuff. But it's stuff like that parents just don't want their kids to get unless they choose it. But even then, hopefully you're raising your kids to pick better. Anyways, so it's a myth. Does anyone remember when Dr. Seuss was literally canceled by publishers? 6 books. The number one selling children's author, still to this day, I believe, I can look it up. Definitely up there in the top 10, though. Had books canceled. He's dead because they were supposedly racist. Yet, the same liberals who did that, who canceled Dr. Seuss books, which, by the way, I don't recall an ounce of racism, and there have been plenty of black people who have said the same. I haven't seen an ounce of racism in their books, in his books. So the same people who did that, and Dr. Seuss wasn't the only one, the same people who did that are now complaining about parents just wanting to do what they believe is right for their children. However, one can make an argument to just pull your kids out of public school. And there are plenty of people who have made that argument. Fine. But wow. I cannot stand it. The liberals cry and cry and cry when a conservative does something that's actually proper. And in fact, shouldn't even have needed to be done. Material that is showing a man bent over, taking it by another man, should never have even been in question that that's not for kids. It shouldn't. But it has been. And that book, yes, does exist. I've seen it. Now liberals cry wolf. Well, no, not cry wolf. That's a lie. Well, they are kind of lying. Because they're saying they want to protect kids' right to learn. Learn what? I want to protect kids' rights to learn too. Protect it from what though? I believe we should just stick to the facts. They are what they are. However, there are certain things that should not be introduced into a child's life until they're pretty much an adult. And that's sexual behavior as one of them. Another is cursing. But my parents cursed when I was young. I went to a school where a lot of kids cursed. I ended up cussing myself. I ended up cussing. And you know, there's not a lot of control there. There's not a lot you can do. It's not like teachers are cussing or trying to teach your kids how to say the F word. They're not. But, nor should we have to worry about that. But again, we can sit here and talk about banned books all day. But I say, God bless it. Keep doing it, parents. Be more wise, though. Like in a local town, Garrett, not too far from where my wife and I live, they banned Forrest Gump because it has sexually explicit material in it. Now, it depends on what level you're talking. Like, yeah, it shouldn't be in elementary. But if it's in middle school, high school, okay. Because what is that behavior? See, I disagreed with Forrest Gump being banned. But at the same time, if there are parents who believe that it is dangerous, that perhaps there are things in that book that say, I just don't want my children reading it. Okay. What's wrong with that? I can sit here and I can argue, like, I think you're wrong. But I'm only going based on what I know from the movie, and I'm not a big fan of the movie. I'm not. I'm not a big fan of Apollo 13. This is enough of the silliness. Because this isn't the first time. Liberals took books off the shelves literally. Literally. No government, no conservative government anyway, is taking off books. To Kill a Mockingbird, you can still find in any bookstore, any public library. You can go and find it. It's right there. No one's wanting it taken off the shelves. No one's wanting the publishing company to stop publishing it. Stop printing it. No one's saying that. Yet they had the nerve to do that to Dr. Seuss and others. Best politics. Ban books. It's based on a lie. Cancel ban book week. Cancel it. Because it's based on a lie. Don't cancel it because of cancel culture. I'm saying people individually, cancel it yourself. Do it. Just say, you know what? I didn't think of that. Because if you can name a bookstore, if you can name a library where they've literally taken it off the shelves, you can no longer purchase it. But where I've got an article open right now from CNN from all those years ago saying 6 Dr. Seuss books won't be published anymore because they portray people in hurtful and wrong ways. And those are in quotes. This was published in 2021. Liberals did it first, and now that conservatives are finally getting their way a little bit, and really it's not just conservatives, it's parents. And some of these parents may even be on the Democrat side, the liberal side. But that doesn't mean they still want these books. They have every right to complain, and the school boards have every right to take those complaints into consideration. And then if they want to follow up and say, you know what, yeah, you made fine points, we're canceling these books because they're harmful. But you can still get it at your local library. You can still go to a bookstore. If you are interested, you can get them. So you see, it's just a flat lie. And same with To Kill a Mockingbird. Knowing what I know now, I'm perfectly fine with it not being part of the curriculum. It's based on a sham. I didn't know that, and I still like it as a novel. It's a good, fictional, fun read. I've read it 2-3 times, maybe more, and I may end up reading again. But don't believe the lies. All you normies, don't believe the lies. And we're surrounded by them. Open the Word of God and know truth. He is true. His Word is true. And they can cancel that book all they want. I will still own 1, 2, 3, 100 if I need to. Because that book is true. And that's one I'll never want taken from kids. And it was the very first book taken from kids. That happened when they decided to say God is no longer allowed in school. Yeah, kids can take their Bibles. They don't get punished. But that's not the point. Again, just open up His Word. Know it's truth. Because He is truth. Lean on Jesus Christ. Give your faith to Him. Put your faith in Him. Repent. Turn from your sin. Know that He died, was buried, and rose again, wiping those sins away, carrying them as far as the east from the west. And you'll be set free. And you'll know that the only real truth that matters is Him. Most else is a lie. God bless. Thanks for watching. This is Daniel Stabler. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want more notifications. God bless, and have a wonderful time and day.